So we were looking at a month-long intensive, both learning and creating, co-creating, convening of 60 global citizens, ages 18 to 64, from 25 countries, who came together. We're all volunteers to make a difference in partnership, as I mentioned, with local communities, rural and semi-urban, in southern India, around global health. And we were organized into 8 teams. And my focus today will be on my team and the impact that we believe we can make.
All right. Do you want to let me know when you'd like to show the slides that you've got?
All right. Well, Arya, you know this story probably better than anyone else on the call. Is there any context that you think I should set, any gaps to fill in before we go forward?
Yeah, I think if you could just very briefly, there's a few people who may not know, if you can give us a very brief sort of summary of Global Force for Healing, your global organization, what you do, and how you got involved in this summit.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Global Force for Healing, and our tagline is "Love is the Force," is a social profit organization. 501c3 is the federal nonprofit designation in the United States. And we're dedicated to co-creating projects, connecting or convening networks of grassroots projects around the world, and particularly in remote, underserved areas around health, healing, and wholeness. Our definition of healing is a return to wholeness. So seeing ourselves as whole already. And also communicating best practices. So it was a natural outgrowth of my connecting with and basically suggesting to one of our network members who's been very involved with MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology's design school, in offering programs every summer in the so-called developing world. Most of them, frankly, have been in Africa to date since they started in 2007. This was the first one ever in Asia, first one in India. So our purpose really was to come together, to learn together, and then to work in teams to create products and educational interventions and co-create not just among industrial designers, farmers, midwives, doctors, business people, but in partnership with, I really want to stress that, the communities that have reached out and said, this is our need, how can you help us?
Great.
So not a top-down, we decided that these 8 topics are the most important global health topics for Southern India. On the contrary, it was really a long conversation over months that the lead organizers, who are from Chennai, even though they live currently in the United States, had with local people in communities.
That's great, Kay, and that's a key distinction, is that the needs get identified and the solutions get created, not by some by some NGO that swoops in, but by the whole conversation with everybody involved.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm so delighted. I mean, I knew it was an honor and a privilege to co-host this event and help plan it, but I didn't fully recognize that till all 60 of us from 25 countries got together. And you can imagine how much upfront logistics there were to get everybody there and raise the money. So Global Force for Healing actually raised sufficient funds to bring 3 people from our network, and a 4th person's organization funded her. So there were 4 of the 48 participants were actually from our network.
So shall we go into showing the slides, and you can talk from them?
Yeah, please. And for those of you who are only on via audio, my apologies if I'll try to factor that in, but I take great comfort in knowing that you can see the video and actually the 7 slides afterwards.
Okay, so Can you guys see this screen with the beginning of this slide? Let me ask you this. I have this now on full screen. Can everybody see this slide? Can you see it, Kay?
Yes, I can. Thank you. It looks perfect.
Okay, so take us away.
All right. So my team, which is the newborn temperature measuring and monitoring team, was very fortunate to be partnered with the Tribal Health Initiative, THI, which is in southern India to the west of Chennai, that formerly was called Madras. Some of you may know that name. And it's near Salem, India. And it's a very, obviously, you see rural area where there's organic now, thanks to Tribal Health Initiatives, organic farming. And so the folks that live here are almost 100% sustainable farmers. Okay, so this is our team. We nicknamed ourselves Team Crest. That's a part of our, I think it was the first initial, of everybody. And you can see the Tribal Health Initiative in the background. I just want to say how amazing the founders of Tribal Health Initiative are. It's an Indian couple, Doctors Reggie and Lalita George, who traveled about 25 years ago throughout India, spent an entire year looking for a community where they could best be of service. And so they found the Sitalingi Valley, which is a cotton growing area, and the Malavasis, the so-called hill tribes of the area, were completely unserved, ignored by the health system. So after about a year of basically getting into relationship with the community, they started the Tribal Hospital. You see the sign in the background, and the Tribal Health Initiative. So our team, after meeting extensively with the nurses, doctors, and the health auxiliaries, the community health workers, and you see one of them actually on the far right in the beautiful pink and green sari, that's Satya. And so the need that came up was helping to quickly assess whether a newborn, that is within the first 28 days of birth, needs to be transported to the Tribal Health Initiative because the folks are so remote. And there's one ambulance, but most people end up having to use one or more or two buses to get there. So what we ended up deciding to focus on was an educational initiative around identifying signs and symptoms of illness in a newborn. And so that's sort of the educational piece that we're working on together. And then the tech piece, the technological device, is a thermometer that is basically a reinvention of, you see this little boy in one of the villages, the nurse who is from Tribal Health Initiative and once a month supports the health worker, community health worker, Satya on the right. That's Madeshuri is her name, using a current digital thermometer with a little toddler. Because, so what we are doing is designing, and I'll show you our prototype on paper. And let's not go any further than this, Adia, because this is going to take me a couple minutes to talk about. So designing a thermometer that fits under a newborn's armpit, and the average birth weight of an Indian baby is around 5 pounds or maybe a little less. The mother of this little boy, she was actually sitting just to his right, our left, had a newborn, a 1-month-old baby, but we decided in our research, going back and forth twice between Chennai, the city, and Tribal Health Initiative, not to take pictures of or film mothers and newborns. Mothers, yes; newborns, no. And so, out of respect for them and their culture. So anyway, this little boy and his mother and the health auxiliary had never seen a thermometer before. So what we were researching was how to design something that axillary, meaning under the armpit, that would fit a newborn and that could very accurately not only assess but be reflected in the colors you see here for a non-literate, non-numerical society. So the nurses read, but the health auxiliaries, the village health workers who are there day in and day out, for whom we primarily are designing this, don't read or write. So, but for the nurses who think they want to use it in the hospital too, that black vertical line you see on the baby temperature thermometer is actually the accurate way of measuring exactly, just like a digital thermometer would, 99.6, for example. So, so let me just go over it, especially for those of you who aren't seeing the image. There's a sensor that right now our prototype is having it shaped as a little round device that just fits neatly under a baby's armpit. If the thermometer, which right now we're calling Baby Temp It, shows in the blue area, that means the baby needs warming, hyperthermia. Green, next one up the scale, is everything is copacetic, happy face, no need to do anything for the newborn. Yellow is our warning signal, just like in soccer and other sports where there's a yellow flag. That means this baby needs to be monitored. And then a temperature that goes into the red zone once the head of this lights up, and you up above you can see there's a the place that lights up when the temperature has been taken is in the shape of a baby's head. So red means transfer immediately. So it's, as I'm going to read what it says on the left, REA, for those of us who can't see the image. Baby
I think everybody can see the image.
Dinesh, can you see the image?
Oh, he's muted. My screen shows that everybody is on the video, but they're not necessarily on. Yeah, and I think in the interest of making sure we have enough time, I think you've conveyed enough so that we get the idea, you know. And I want to make sure that people have time to interact with you, Kay.
Okay, can I just say a little bit about the impact of what we're doing?
Sure.
This is in the spirit of I am, because we are, is in the spirit of the whole conference. So I think for our product development team, the impact is really co-creating a simple, affordable, easy to use infant wellness system, primarily focused on temperature, and how to look for signs and symptoms of illness in time to save babies' lives, to get them to the hospital. So this is a picture of our team members' hands. We very quickly, maybe in our first team building meeting, decided our phrase, our mantra would be, I am because we are. So we're very excited, really on fire about going forward to create something that is very useful and needed for India and beyond.
I think this is a beautiful example of, you know, of what you're talking about. And there's one more slide here, right?
Yeah, these are two of our team members. Rohini, the Indian doctor on the left, who spoke in the video, she was a key member of our team. And Colleen, who lives in Colorado, and Satya, the health auxiliary, with whom we'll be working going forward.
Oh, thank you, Kay.